Baby, I'm talking crazy. I need you running my space, but I need it. Space, but I need it.
Hey everyone, my name is Sushani and this is Sushani Journey. I want to thank you guys for stopping by my channel, for liking my content, and for just listening to what I have to say and being part of this amazing channel, amazing people that I follow as well, and a lot of these wonderful ladies that do be commenting on my videos. I want to say thank you. Thank you for actually watching my content all the way through and appreciating what I post. I do want to say thank you for that. Today, I want to talk about something very important. I would say it's important because, like I said, my channel is about family, it's about autism, it's about a mix of different things. Today, we're going to talk about autism. Yes, you heard that right, autism. Autism, also known as ASD. Autism is a spectrum disorder. It's a neurological spectrum disorder. It's basically a developmental delay. Basically, when your child has autism, you may notice there are different signs and symptoms of autism. These are the signs of autism. Not every child will show you what the symptoms and signs are. Some won't show any signs at all. The most common one is probably regression. If you notice the regression, some may not show the hand flapping and all the other things until later on. Different signs of when you may see what autism or how they are being diagnosed for autism. They say that you can diagnose it at any age. But what I've found out that people, like 16 months, or you can diagnose it earlier, especially when your child probably really isn't really verbalizing and speaking enough. Like for us, we noticed our son probably right at the 18-month stage, but the doctors wanted to wait and see because, you know, boys develop a lot slower than females. So we waited. And seeing by one, he was saying words, but he wasn't saying as much words as he should. So by two, they wanted to go ahead and say that, get him diagnosed. But they didn't really get him diagnosed. They did early intervention. And when you do autism, or before you get that diagnosis from your doctor that your child has autism, they will give them a developmental delay. And what that basically does is they will go ahead and send you to the early intervention center that's in your state. Early intervention is basically called infant intolerance in most states. What is early intervention? Early intervention allow you to get services such as speech, occupational therapy, and allows you to be able to get some of the help to see if some of it can be corrected on its own, as well as in the meantime you're waiting for an actual diagnosis of autism, which is usually with the health department. And that's when this comes to Virginia, we have it with the health department. So what the early intervention is, they give it to you as early as you were diagnosed until you're about 3 years old. And then after you're 3 years old, they will transition you into the school system. And that's what happened with us. We started transitioning to the school system. And then after the school system, what we went ahead and did was we also started with them for a while until school was out for the summer. And then we went for private center. Like every state has their own autism specialty, I would say, center or somewhere that works specially with autism and other developmental delays. So the one we use is the Central Autism Center, or one of those communities we use. They are like the center that does all that work. And on top of working with them, we have found other programs and other therapies that we can use to help your son. Autism is a disability. It is also considered, some people consider it as a special needs because they need a lot of attention. They need a lot of special needs. They need a lot. They need a lot of love. They need a lot of attention. Besides all that basic stuff, they need other things too when your kid gets diagnosed with autism. But before you even get that diagnosis, Usually when you're doing early intervention, your doctor may refer you over to like a pediatric physical therapist, psychologist, I would say, or somebody that specialized in autism so much, I would say. Usually they have you do like a neurological test or a brain test, something like that. We didn't really have to do one because when we took him to see the specialist, they knew right away that our son was. Like for us, he was rocking. He does a lot of hand flapping. Like you may hear him in the background of my videos. He stammers a lot. He does a lot of that. I would say his speaking, he spoke a lot. Is some of the symptoms of hand flapping or something like that. Like hand flapping, you may notice. Stammering, you may notice. And then you also may notice the lack of speech. Or he may babble. Your child may babble a lot. We don't want to stop our kid from stammering, even though it's loud. We don't want to stop it because it's their way. When your child is stammering, it's their way to regulate who they are. And it really shows you when they're happy too. Like our son, we don't stop it. We try to calm it down a little bit if we can, but we don't stop it. We let him continue because he's happy. We know he's happy when he does it. Another thing about autism is that it's a whole variety of different things. You may not notice it right away, but you may notice the regression in some areas that your son or your child may have issues in. You may notice they knew how to do it one time and then all of a sudden they stopped doing it. That's what we call regression. That will happen. You know, they don't use different levels. Levels of autism is pretty much outdated. Level 1, 2, and 3. It's outdated. It's basically, sounding like they're saying your kid is not autism enough because it's a level 1 or a level 2 or a level 3. Those terms, I will say it's a little outdated. The levels, I will definitely say that. Plus, our doctor did say that too. She said the levels is outdated. It doesn't really matter. The levels don't really matter. So I will say that definitely is true about that because your child could be a level 3 then change to level 2 and all that. And that just doesn't matter because your kid's still autistic, autism or autistic. Your kid is still what they are. And we can't change that. It's not because we use vaccines where our kid is autistic. It's not because of what we eat our child is autistic. Some people do say you can get autistic by genes as well. So that is some ways you can find out, that's a possibility, but it's not always guaranteed. You could be a completely healthy person and still have something wrong with your child. So that's one thing I always tell people, that we love our kid no matter what. To me, he's not a burden to me. I love him dearly, and he is my everything. And I'm mama bear till the day I die, And one thing about being a parent of a special needs child or disabled child, what you need to be is an advocate to your child. You need to be an advocate and speak up for them. When you notice something is not being right and not being done right, you need to be aware of that, and you need to speak up. I'm going to go a little backtrack for you guys when it comes to the early intervention. After you take your child to the doctor and you talk to them about, what you think is going on, and let's say they decided to do early intervention. Early intervention is a tedious process. It takes about an hour each session, I think. About an hour, 30 minutes. They go through 2 or 3 sessions. The first session is just you and the specialist. Talking with the kid, then looking over at the kid to see, what possibilities there are. And then the second time you go is an hour. It's an hour tedious. Basically, your child is trying to play, because most kids don't want to play and don't want to be there. So your kid's trying to play. And then after that, They're assessing. You have a speech therapist there, you have a teacher, you have a physical OT teacher. You have all three of them there, plus the coordinator of this whole entire thing. They're all going to be there to help you to assess what levels. And they literally write everything down, and you're given it, a copy of it, of the levels of where your child struggles, but which area of criteria where he or she struggles with. And I'll be honest, we knew our son was, even when he was in early intervention, because of the rocking and the hand flapping. I already felt something was wrong because he started talking for a very early age. And that's also a sign too. When your kids start talking for a very early age and then all of a sudden the talking decreases. So I was worried then. And then I started to think more and more about it, because then he started rocking a lot. And then after that, we started noticing more signs, but we wanted to know, it might be just him. He might be a little hyperactive, because my husband was hyperactive, and I know I am. I haven't been fully diagnosed about it, but from what I know about myself, I know I am. So we thought it was just that. And his doctor said it's too early to diagnose somebody who is ADHD. They want to wait until he is at least 5 to do that. So we said, okay. So yeah, when you get that paperwork, I know it's going to be a relief once you get the paperwork of where developmental delays are, so you can work with him. Like, you can work with he or she, and it's going to be a relief so you can know what you start doing with your kid. And then that's an hour-long process, and then depends on, who's in that room. You may have the teacher right there who's also teaching you how to do the speeching, how to speak, how to use words. And that's what we used with him until he was out of service. Until he got out of service at 3, we've been using everything that we were taught with him. And then during that process, we went finally to go get him diagnosed by an actual autism doctor, teacher, that psychiatrist or a specialist in autism. So she was able to really tell us what's going on, what we need to do, what needs to be done, and what else we need to do. So we did that. They will tell you all that information, and I guess we were mad at our doctor for some time because we felt it was her fault. But because we didn't get more time in there to help him. But we realized that because he was growing so well and he looked like he was healthy, they didn't think autism. And that's another thing. Autism doesn't matter what you look like. You can't look at somebody and tell they're autistic. I'm tired of seeing posts of people telling people your child is not autistic. You're just giving your child that title. You don't know what that parent goes through on a daily basis with an autistic kid. You don't know what that parent goes through at home. Dealing with an autistic kid takes a lot of patience and a lot of love and a lot of me time, because I tell you, it's probably one of the hardest things that you will have to do in life besides birth that child. It is hard. It is not easy. It's not for the weak at heart at all. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of courage. And let me tell you, for me, I put my strength in my husband. I put my strength in God, because that's why I know we can do this and we got it. Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of strength to do it. Before, it was just both of us working to be able to give him what he needs, and I noticed I needed to do that. Back with the question, and it is, what do you do when your autistic kid is hurting you? Well, what you can do is count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then what you do is take a deep breath. And if you are spiritual, if you believe in God, I always say, God's connection. I'll say a prayer, a small prayer for yourself to ask God to give you strength. And then if it's in the middle of hurting, you just say, Lord, I thank you. I ask you for your strength. And then what you can also do is look at your kid and tell them that you love. I know you don't understand what you do. I know you need me, but I love you. You can also tell them, I will always love you no matter what. I won't let you continue to hurt me, and I still love you. Hurting from an autistic kid can be ranging from hitting, slapping, biting, scratching. A number of different scenarios can be a form of them hurting you. Because sometimes they don't know what they're doing because they can't communicate. Is it the most hardest thing to deal with? Yes. It is the most hardest thing to deal with because you don't know what to do. Sometimes we can't react too fast because when we do, it may result in either our kid being scared of us, or it may be a result of our kid reacting worse because they're trying to communicate to you something they need, and either we're not listening enough or they're not feeling like they're being heard. I know it's hard to deal with, but it's something that we have to do as autistic family. We need to basically what we need to do is to be patient with them because they don't understand fully what they're doing. And because they have that developmental delay, they're missing that connection of what they're doing wrong. Yes, some of them understand what they're doing wrong. And I say that to my husband all the time. He understands. But does he completely comprehend? No. No, he doesn't. My son does say some words, does communicate some words, and he tells me by pointing or by pulling on my hand, let me know he needs something. But he has his moments, as most kids do. So for our autistic community, I know we're out there. I just want to show love and show advocacy towards them because we need to make more awareness and make people stop belittling us and think bad about us, that we're just chauvinistic people. We're trying to show the world and make money off our kid. Because that's not true. We're trying to show the world awareness of something that people seem to look down upon, seem to look frown upon. People think it's such a terrible thing that has happened to you when you get a child that's diagnosed with autism or ASD. I've had it said to me already, oh, it's a terrible thing. What such a terrible thing has happened to you? Whoa, you. I'm like, you know what? It's a blessing. It's a blessing because I love him. And I'm willing to be there and work with him through everything. And we are. And I just want to say that, answer that question. I'll post the question up here so you guys can see what the question was. I also post to use my Instagram for the autism awareness page as well. I will also post my reply on there as well so you guys can see. I want to say thanks again for stopping by. Over and out. Bye.